Good morning, y'all. We're here in the batter's box, and it's Tea Tuesday. And to be quite frank with you, to be 100% honest, I don't want to talk about the tea. You see, we're here at the beginning of season 2 in the batter's box. Last season, we spent all of our time at Damage Hitter Studios, and I decided to create this space because I really wanted to get intimate with you and talk to you about the details, about what's going on. You see, what I don't want to do anymore is compare you or any of your buddies to big leaguers. I don't want to compare you to Hall of Famers. I don't want to compare you to All-Stars. I don't want to compare you to up-and-coming prospects. I don't want to compare you to college guys that are already getting it done. What I want to do is provide you a space where you can get the best information you can for you to become the best you can. And one thing that I figured out is it's become really popular to watch big leaguers swing and say how good they are and try to duplicate what they do. And along with figuring that out, I found out that it's really hard for us normal people who are, some of us, 80 pounds in the first grade or the second grade or the third grade or the fourth grade, or 150 pounds as a sophomore in high school, or 190 pounds as a senior in high school, to do what some of those grown men can do. We may be able to think about those opportunities. We may be able to practice some of those things, but to actually do what they can do has become very difficult. What I believe is you can take the most advanced information possible, apply it to yourself and your swing, and become the best you can be. Now, over time, I'm not saying you can't be a big leaguer. I believe you can. I'm not saying you can't be a Division I hitter. I believe you can. What I'm saying is for you to try to behave like them right now might be a little ridiculous, maybe even absurd. So what we're going to do today, rather than talk about the tee, is we're going to talk about the bat. We're going to talk about the body. We're going to talk about what our bodies do in order to create great contact and the dark elephant in the room, launch angles. And I don't talk to my hitters about launch angles. I say don't. Very rarely do I talk to them about launch angles. Two greatest compliments I got last year. One was from a current front office worker with a professional team who actually was also a player of mine who played in the big leagues. He said, "Carl, I really like the fact that you can talk about bat paths and know the difference between a 4-seam bat path and a 2-seam and how advanced baseball is becoming." And I was ecstatic to hear him acknowledge that he knew that I could do that, and just see, hey, a younger guy who came up under me who's had a vast experience and a smart guy acknowledge that, hey, you know what you were doing at a young age with guys that you worked with. Felt really good. And then I had a guy who's a professional hitting coach say, hey, one of my favorite things about you is that you keep it so simple. It's simple, it's accurate, it's direct, and it helps. So I'm glad that both sides are being covered and people get it. My goal is to help hitters become better. My goal is to help people become better people. So I like to try to keep it simple. So the direction we're going with that is this. If this was a bow and arrow made for a child, it would have maybe 20 pounds of pressure per square inch. And a child could come up here of 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds, pull this bow back and shoot it. This would be the weapon. The arrow would be the projectile. If this was a bow made for an avid hunter, it would have 100 pounds or 150 pounds or 200 pounds of pressure per square inch. And it would take a grown, strong man to pull it back, steady it with his front arm, get it back in position, and let it go. Obviously, the 200-pound bow would be the more devastating weapon if used properly. Obviously, the child's bow of 20 or 30 pounds would be a devastating weapon if used properly for the right animal. What's my point? I haven't gotten to it yet. If this was a sledgehammer of 25 pounds, a young boy of 90 pounds would be able to bring the sledgehammer up and get it up to his shoulder and bring it down on top of, and get it going and bring it down on top of the target. But it wouldn't be a devastating blow as if a grown man was to grab that sledgehammer, bring it back, and swing it and hit their target the way they wanted to. Point is, in hitting, the thing that's not being talked about, that's being forgot the most to create these dark elephant launch angles, which are a great thing. There's no such thing as a bad launch angle when balls are going out of the park. There's no such thing as a bad launch angle when you're hitting missiles that are hits, whether they be 4 feet off the ground or 45 or 60. The thing that's being missed is the weapon Our body creates the launch angle. So how we use our body, how we get it through space, and how we understand it gives us the best opportunity to create a launch angle or an attack angle or a swing direction or a swing path that allows us to hit balls as hard as we possibly can.